Hey everyone, and welcome back to Atlas Unfolded. Today we're embarking on a journey to a land that defies one of geography's most fundamental rules. A place so vast, so rich in resources, yet strangely, almost hauntingly, devoid of something most civilizations have built themselves around for millennia: permanent rivers. We're talking, of course, about Saudi Arabia. Imagine building a nation, fostering a massive population, and developing a cutting-edge economy, all while facing the monumental challenge of having virtually no natural flowing freshwater sources. It's a geographical anomaly that forces us to ask, how does a country of over 36 million people not just survive, but truly thrive when the very arteries of life, its rivers, are missing from its map? What does this mean for its past, its present, and its future? To truly grasp the challenge, we need to understand the fundamental geography at play. Saudi Arabia occupies about 80% of the Arabian Peninsula, a landmass largely dominated by some of the most arid deserts on Earth, the legendary Rub al-Khali or Empty Quarter to the south, and the Nafud Desert further north. When we say no permanent rivers, we mean there are no continuous, year-round flows of water like the Mississippi, the Yangtze, or the Danube. The reason for this stark reality is multifaceted, but primarily rooted in its extreme hyper-arid climate. Rainfall is incredibly scarce, often less than 100 millimeters annually in many regions, and highly unpredictable. When rain does fall, especially during rare, intense downpours, it quickly evaporates or is absorbed by the porous desert sands. There's simply not enough consistent precipitation to feed permanent surface waterways. What Saudi Arabia does have are wadis, ancient riverbeds that carve through the landscape, remnants of wetter climatic periods millennia ago. These wadis are ephemeral. They briefly transform into raging torrents during those rare, heavy rains, funneling enormous volumes of water. But just as quickly as they appear, they vanish, leaving behind dry, dusty channels. Relying on these for a nation's water supply is, simply put, impossible. A historical struggle, from oases to oil and innovation. So, how did life exist here for centuries? Historically, settlements were almost exclusively concentrated around oases. These were pockets of fertility where underground water, often ancient, fossil water accumulated over thousands of years during wetter eras, was accessible through wells. These oases became crucial hubs for trade routes and nomadic life, dictating where people could live and where civilizations could tentatively take root. But with the discovery of vast oil reserves in the mid-20th century, everything changed. The influx of immense wealth allowed Saudi Arabia to transcend its traditional geographical limitations. A rapidly growing population, ambitious development plans, and a desire for national food security put immense pressure on those finite underground water sources. It became clear the ancient ways of survival wouldn't sustain a modern nation. The modern solution: desalination and industrial marvel. This brings us to the cornerstone of modern Saudi Arabia's water strategy: desalination. Saudi Arabia is, quite remarkably, the world's largest producer of desalinated water, meeting around 70% of its freshwater needs this way. Think about that. They literally turn seawater into drinking water on an industrial scale that dwarfs almost every other nation. The technology is complex, primarily involving two main methods: multi-stage flash, MSF distillation, which boils seawater and condenses the steam, and more recently, reverse osmosis, RO, which pushes seawater through incredibly fine membranes to filter out salt. These plants are engineering marvels, sucking in vast quantities of water from the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf and pumping out millions of cubic meters of fresh water every day to cities and industries hundreds of kilometers inland. But this technological triumph comes at a significant cost. Desalination is incredibly energy-intensive. It often relies on burning fossil fuels, the very oil and gas that fuels their economy, contributing to a substantial carbon footprint. Furthermore, the process produces concentrated brine, a super salty wastewater, which, if not managed carefully, can harm marine ecosystems when discharged back. Beyond desalination, other water strategies into the ocean. While desalination is king, Saudi Arabia employs other strategies too. For decades, they heavily relied on fossil aquifers for agriculture, especially for growing water-intensive crops like wheat, to achieve food self-sufficiency. However, this was unsustainable. These ancient reserves are non-renewable and were being depleted at alarming rates. They've since largely curtailed these ambitious but water-guzzling agricultural programs. Now, there's a growing focus on water conservation and reuse. Significant investments are being made in advanced wastewater treatment facilities, turning sewage into water suitable for irrigation, industrial cooling, and even aquifer replenishment. There's also a push for more efficient irrigation techniques and public awareness campaigns to reduce domestic water consumption. And in ambitious new projects like NEOM, they're exploring truly cutting-edge, self-sufficient water systems, including solar-powered desalination and innovative cloud seeding technologies. A future defined by water. Lessons for a thirsty world. The story of Saudi Arabia's water is more than just a local challenge. It's a profound lesson for a world increasingly grappling with water scarcity. As climate change leads to more frequent and severe droughts, and as global populations continue to grow, more regions will face water stress previously unimaginable. Saudi Arabia's journey demonstrates extraordinary human ingenuity and the power of immense resources to overcome fundamental geographical limitations. However, it also highlights the critical questions of sustainability, the energy footprint, the environmental impact, and the long-term viability of high-tech solutions. Their story forces us to confront the idea that geography isn't just about where rivers are, but how we adapt when they aren't there at all. What did you find most surprising about Saudi Arabia's approach to water? Or perhaps, what country's unique geographical challenge would you like to see us unfold next? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Atlas Unfolded for more geographical deep dives, and I'll see you next time.